Okay, I got something for y'all. My name's Akia. Yeah, I'm 29 years old. Yeah, I lost my beat. Hold on. Rewind. And I'm at a restaurant. People are looking at me like I'm crazy, but I'm gonna get this right. My name's Akia. Yeah, I'm 29 years old. Yeah, right now I'm happy. Yeah, so I'm gonna make my bed roll.
Akia, the girl from Bali, spreading her love like a one gentle breeze. Oh yeah, she dances through the streets.
Lately, I feel content. I guess that's another word for happiness, but with content, I mean that I can be accepting of the things that are happening, which in turn allows me to be at peace. I feel relaxed into life. I'm not so worried or anxious. I'm not looking over my shoulder because of fear. I don't shout and fight like I used to. I don't close my heart off to protect myself. Instead, I open it. I feel content. I feel grateful to have started on a healing journey that I didn't even know I needed. I feel grateful to now be able to feel my body and understand my mind. I feel happy for this connection that I now have with Mama Nature and being able to love her as she has loved me, feeding this body, allowing me to see all the beautiful things that surround me that I couldn't see before. I feel happy to be waking up from my sleep to the birds, the chickens, the dogs barking, and the humans moving about, and not angry and annoyed because I don't want to get up and be a part of another day. I feel happy for those moments of discomfort and misunderstanding with another human being because only then am I able to see where I am still challenged and grow. I feel happy to be alive, even on the hard days, because I know that there was, is, and always will be purpose for the pain. Today I woke up feeling a little bit anxious in my mind. My body was grounded and I felt safe and my heart was calm. And I felt so grateful to be able to feel all of it and to be alive and to have tools and the wisdom to be able to navigate my existence here in this world without getting angry or frustrated from not knowing how to be with myself, how to accept myself and accept the ebbs and flows of life. I feel grateful to now be able to hug, laugh, dance, cry, rest, love, breathe, listen, and speak. I feel content. But it was not always like that. For a very long time, I just didn't share my story. One, because I think that I was embarrassed for a very long time. I was embarrassed about a lot of the things that happened to me. I was embarrassed about where I came from. I was embarrassed about just different parts of my life. And then once I started to heal, it just sort of lost its importance. Like the things that literally used to have a stranglehold over me, like my fear, anger, trauma, these things that literally had me in a chokehold, they just started to lose their power. And then I just thought, what's the need to tell this story? I do realize how important it is because I do see, like I was just talking with a friend and we were saying how important it is to tell our stories because they really can be medicine for other people. So today I want to share a little bit about my story, the things that led me here to this moment to be able to alleviate uh, crippling anger. I was so angry inside, so angry. And I didn't know what to do about it. And then sexual abuse trauma. I was molested when I was 7 years old, and I didn't tell anyone until I was 17. So imagine how long that lived inside of me, and that it was literally inside of my body, killing me softly. And the first time I mentioned it or said anything about it was when I was 17. And the second time I said anything about it, I was 25 or 26 years old. Fear, just fear of being judged, just shame for people to know where I came from growing up in poverty, Section 8, food stamps, lights off in the house, mom barely making it, working really, really hard to support us, and then falling into alcohol addiction. I watched friends get pregnant throughout high school, young girls getting pregnant throughout high school. I watched friends and family members go to prison for murder. I have I can count on two hands how many people from my neighborhood growing up have been murdered, killed, not by natural causes of death. And it took me a long time to realize that that's not normal. That's not normal. And when I speak to friends and family sometimes, it's normal to us. It's become a normal thing to us for people we know to be shot and killed, people to struggle, people to not have the means to eat, to take care of themselves, to be healthy, to relax in their own homes. Fear, so much fear. So much fear to be here in the world and to move freely and to breathe freely and to let down our shoulders. Our shoulders are up here, to let down our shoulders. And all of these things I was so embarrassed about. And yeah, so this is my story. This is my story of finding the light through my suffering, because we all suffer and we all want to be free and we all want to be happy and we all want to know peace, but sometimes it's hard. And I want to let you know that I know that sometimes it's hard, and I know sometimes it feels like there's no place to go, there's nobody to talk to, nobody understands. Life sometimes is not easy. There is light. There is light, and there is peace, and there is happiness. My name is Akia, and if you have not been on this channel before, thank you for being here with me. And I really hope that you find something here that helps you on your journey, or just something that makes you smile a little bit today. And if you do know me, allow me to reintroduce myself. I was originally born in Alabama, and then when I was very young, I moved to Miami, Florida with my mom after my grandmother died of drug overdose, and then my great grandmother died of cancer. And my mom was 17 when she had me, and we moved to Miami, which was a very different world because we're from the country. You might even hear it in my voice a little bit, just very southern accent. But yeah, so moved to Miami. And for me, that's just where I grew up. I spent my entire life growing up between Miami and Broward County. And when I think back to my childhood, it wasn't easy. But I come from a family that makes lemonade out of lemons. And we did that a lot. But the thing with that is a lot of things got covered up. A lot of things weren't addressed. There was a lot of suffering. There was a lot of struggle and just tough times. And although we did try to see the light, the body keeps score. The body keeps score. And there were things that happened. Like I remember we moved around a lot. We always were moving. My mom was on Section 8 and we had government assistance and food stamps and all of those good things. And not complaining, they saved our lives. They helped us tremendously growing up to be able to have food on the table. My mom was a single parent and my dad wasn't there. And my dad was out in the streets. He was a drug dealer and things like that. So he wasn't really present my entire life. And that caused a lot of stress on my mom growing up. And she tried her best. She has 3 children. It's me, the oldest, on my mother's side. Then there is my younger brother, who's a year younger than me, and then my younger sister. She tried her best, but then my mom also, she was 17. She was a baby when she had me. So she went through her life trying to learn how to take care of a baby raising babies. I feel like in many ways we are growing up together or figuring it all out together. She struggled to make ends meet, to keep money in the house, to take care of 3 kids, always moving, had to stay with family members here and there. And because of that, that's where sexual abuse happened in my life. And I was molested when I was 7 years old by a family member. And for many years, I suppressed that so deeply to the point where I was still hugging this person at family reunions, at cookouts. I was still in rooms with this person. It was, I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't know what to say or who to say it to. I also felt betrayed. I also felt violated. I was scared. I didn't want anyone to blame me. There was just a lot of stuff going on, and I just didn't want to deal with it. So I suppressed it for many, many years, which created anger in me. Anger. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel protected. And also, I had a lot of freedom growing up as well. So my mom was doing her best. She spent a lot of time at work though, and trying to put food on the table, keep the rent paid, and things like that. So she wasn't always there, and that created a feeling of abandonment issues. So I spent a lot of my life feeling like, well, why is my mother not protective over me? Like I used to see my friends' moms, they'd be like, you have to be in the house by 8, or you have to be in the house at this time, and checking in on my friends' grades and things like that. And my mom just wasn't available in that way. And I didn't understand it at the time. So there was a lot of abandonment issues and issues around just lack of having a present parent, physically, emotionally, financially. There just wasn't a lot of stability in my life as I grew up, which I didn't realize until I started to do some healing work. When I came to Bali, I legitimately thought I was about to just like, that was my I'm traveling the world phase. And if you have been following me for a while, you'll see that was what I was doing. I was very much in my, I'm traveling, I'm exploring, and I'm seeing new places, and life is all good and life is great. And, and then I realized that was also just just some more paint to put on the wall to make it beautiful on the outside. And up until it just wasn't gradually life just starts saying, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at your suffering, look at your suffering. And I had to look at it, and I had to face myself, and I had to face the anger and the fear and the sexual abuse, trauma, and the shame. And I had to face all of it. And why me? Why me? Like, why did all these things have to happen to me growing up? And why couldn't I be born into a rich family, or a family with 2 parents that were married, or and why couldn't I have a dad that was present, or a mom that was stronger and didn't fall into being an alcoholic? And so why me? Why? So I had to really face myself. I forgave my mom. I was very angry with my mom. I was angry with her first because I was molested. And I felt like she should have been there to protect me because she was the parent that was present. And then I was angry with my mom because she struggled so much. And I was tired of struggling. I was tired of moving around as a kid. We moved so much. I was so tired. I was tired. I was tired that I couldn't have all the things I wanted all the time. I was tired that the lights would go off. I was tired that she wasn't emotionally available and that I couldn't speak to my mom about things like my hair or menstruation or boyfriends or love or I was angry and just upset about it. And I was angry that she didn't tell me to come home at a certain time or that she hadn't hugged me that much. um, that she really didn't say I love you a lot. So I was angry. And then when my mom uh, became an alcoholic, started to drink more, I was just embarrassed. I was like, my mom really drinking alcohol laid out on the floor like like I literally was. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I was so mad at her. How could you? How could you? And it wasn't even about her. It was all about me. It wasn't about the fact that she was suffering. It was about the fact that I think a mosquito bit me on my back. You did. Go away. It was about the fact that, yeah, she just was embarrassing. My brother and my sister would call me, and I was having to take care of things for them, and they were kids, and I was a kid, and I was just like, what is going on here? I was so angry at her. So I thought my mom was weak. I thought she lacked strength. I was just utterly embarrassed of her for a long time. And then I realized how much courage, how much strength it must have taken to raise three kids, coming from a country to a big city, changing your entire environment, having to adapt, meeting a man that you thought you were safe with and not being safe and not being able to raise your kids safely and having to spend most of your time working and really not even getting to be a teenager, not even getting to learn how to be an adult because her mother was addicted to drugs. And then my great grandmother got sick and wasn't able to really be there for my mom. So who was there for her? And then I had so much compassion for my mom. So much compassion for my mom. So much. So much. And I wasn't angry with her anymore. I just wanted to hug her. And now I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of her. And I admire her strength and I admire everything she went through and how much she tried, how much she showed up and gave of her soul. It's the most selfless thing anybody could ever do. And I couldn't appreciate that because all of the stuff that I was carrying and now and I feel so grateful to see my mom in this light now. And to be able to love my mom and give her what she probably never had. Got me crying and stuff. But I'm crying. And I think that's important. And I'm crying. Because some of us, we don't even cry. We've shut off the faculty of crying because it makes us look weak or silly or not strong or like people will judge us. Whew. I forgave my dad. I remember I was on an airplane coming from India, and I don't know. I hadn't spoken to my dad, and I probably only actually spoken to my dad 5 times in my life. 5 times in my life. I'm 29 years old, and I was on a plane coming from India maybe last year, and something said write a letter to your dad. I never intended on giving it to him. I didn't even know my dad's phone number, to be honest, or how to get in contact with him. And I remember being on the airplane, writing in my notes a letter to my dad, and I just felt so much compassion for him. And I thought, how hard must my dad's life have been? How hard to grow up in that environment and maybe not have the people around to nurture you and to have to do the things that he had to do to survive and to eat. And how hard must that have been for him? And then to have children and then to not know what to do with the children, or not know how to connect, or not know how to love because you don't understand. So I wrote my dad a letter and I forgave him, and I told him, if there's nothing else that you know in this life, please know that I forgive you, and I'm not angry with you, and I have zero anger in my heart for you. I came to the point where I had zero anger in my heart for my dad. It's one of the most painful relationships I had, to not have him around, to not know what it felt like to have a father in my life. And I in that moment I just felt so much compassion for my dad. And then I thought, I'm gonna share this with him. So I found him on Facebook. I found him on Facebook and I sent it to him. I just wanted him to know that. I really did, and he was so happy. And I can't remember his message exactly what he said back, but he said something along the lines of he loves me with all of his heart. And I know he does. I know he does, and I know he did his best. But that was a moment where I realized that I was slowly releasing my anger. That anger I was allowing it to move through me. On my journey, I learned to truly be able to love myself. To love myself, to understand my pain, to understand my suffering, to understand my anger, to understand all the things that happened that were killing me inside. To understand why the outer garments that I was wearing, the clothes and the shoes and the cars and the places, and why that was not going to be a long term solution for what I was actually going through. And how to love and how to hug people and how to trust people and how to smile and how to dance and how to listen and how to speak with my heart open and how to let people in and how to pray, how to transform anger, and how to breathe. How to breathe. I learned how to breathe. And it almost makes me want to cry a little bit because it's like I couldn't have imagined to to feel I couldn't have imagined to feel this way inside in a million years. And it's not to say that I'm not a perfect person and I still suffer and I still have things, but they don't have a hold on me and they don't have their power like they had their power. And therefore I can really be with people. I can be with life. I can be here and I can enjoy this. I can enjoy all of this without feeling like it's hard to breathe, it's hard to exist, it's hard to be amongst people, it's hard to laugh, it's hard to actually enjoy things, or like I need substances or things to be able to actually enjoy being alive. I was embarrassed of and ashamed of my almost my entire existence. Like I continue to cover myself and stuff. I continue to be a part of things that were almost to change the truth of what was happening or who I thought I was. I wouldn't even wear my real hair. Like this is actually big for me to be on camera without weave or extensions in my hair, without my nails done, without my feet done, without makeup on. I was so ashamed. I was really so ashamed to be me. To be to be me. I was ashamed, and to be able to rest as myself in this body, this heart, this breath, to be able to rest as myself, there's no amount of money in the world, no amount of money or things in the world that I would trade this feeling for. I just won't. For what? So I'm going to share more about my journey towards peace and freedom and happiness and all of the days in between because there are still days where I'm just over it. So here's where I started. I changed the channel. I replaced my TV with a whiteboard. The things that I was watching that were no longer serving me, the things that were intensifying my pain, intensifying my suffering, I stopped consuming it. I stopped listening to music that was negative, that invited violence, that spoke heavily about pain and abusive situations, because I had my own to deal with. I didn't need more. I didn't need to keep hearing that. I didn't need to keep letting it seep into my life. I had my own stuff I needed to deal with. So I stopped consuming those things. I started drinking water. I really hated water growing up. It was so hard for me to drink water. My body, like, I really used to even say that, like, I hate water. And now that sounds crazy to me to say. Now that literally sounds crazy to me to say that I hated water. I started drinking water. I started to eat according to my body and not my mind, and not craving and just eating things that felt good for a moment but would make me feel sick or tired or I didn't have energy. I started eating things that actually gave me energy instead of took my energy from me. I started breathing. I went to learn how to breathe. I needed to learn how to breathe, so I went and learned how to breathe properly. I started holding myself accountable to take breaths throughout my day. And I started practicing. I started practicing yoga specifically because it has been one of the things that allows me to connect to myself, to the deepest parts of myself. Every single being deserves to live, not survive and not struggle all their life without ever knowing that they're loved and that they're cared for and that they're connected. We all deserve that. We all deserve to know ourselves, to understand ourselves, and to be ourselves, our most authentic selves. Every person deserves that. So I'm Akia, and this is my journey. A journey of transforming anger, fear, sexual abuse trauma, shame, into peace and happiness and freedom and love. This is my journey.
She dances through the streets with a smile on her face, bringing joy to all, no matter the place.